This video is brought to you by Granger Motors, where you can save up to $1,300 on a factory extended warranty on your new Ford or Ram, Jeep, Chrysler vehicle.
Welcome to the world debut of the 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo. It's a new name.
Yes.
It's a high-performance little tiny pickup, but Ford is saying that this is the return of the street truck.
Yes, sir.
And I have Keith here.
Hey,
Hey, Keith.
how's it going, Andre?
Good to see you again.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw you, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, down in Nashville for the 22 launch.
Yeah,
Yes.
so when the Maverick first came to be,
Yes.
right, as we know it now, which is a compact pickup truck. I call it compact because it's a little bit smaller than the Ranger. But now you're introducing a new model, which is the Lobo, and it's about performance.
Absolutely.
This is kind of fun. So let's talk about first styling changes, right?
Yes.
So everybody can see it. So
Yeah,
everybody can make a call about it, right?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Josh walked us through it, and so he's the expert, but yeah, I mean, the body color, lower fascia, the fog lamps, the unique, gloss black grille. I'm not going to try to tell you all the design cues, but yeah, that was definitely, that was a key aspect of the Lobo image.
Yes, and also a special wheel that we can see here.
Yeah, this is what a lot of people refer to as a turbofan wheel.
Yeah.
So this was popular, again, back in the early, street truck, mini truck time, but also recently for anyone who's familiar with that Tucci truck, SEMA truck,
yes,
kind of using those inspirations into this design.
I was there at SEMA actually, and I remember seeing it, and it's kind of a concept, right?
Yeah.
That was a concept, and it was very kind of extreme, right? It was slammed all the way on the ground.
Yes.
It's got gigantic wheels.
Big wing.
But now this is production.
Correct.
So this is a production truck. So let's talk about the performance enhancements that you've done. So first of all, let's get the powertrain out of the way.
Got it.
So what's the power?
Yeah, so it's the same 2-liter EcoBoost that's in the rest of the Maverick lineup.
Okay.
But then the transmission is where the newness comes. So on some of our other products, ST products, we've taken this 8F 8-speed transmission and taken out one of the gears. Okay. Because of the way the ratios stack up, once you start doing the manual shifting with the paddle shifters, you get in a situation where if you're shifting near red line, you're basically double shifting because the two ratios are on top of each other.
Okay.
So that was just right to help the experience for the customer, so they're not experiencing that overlay of gears. But also then when we get into the Lobo mode, the transmission tune here, we tried to eke every ounce of performance we could. So we firmer shifts, faster shifts, kind of some inertia.
Holding the RPM.
Yeah,
probably,
keeping the RPM high. So the torque, we're in the right torque band. Same thing with the engine. Even though it's the same hardware, the engine guys in Lobo mode have done things with, torque decay and things like that. Again, when you get back in, so when you're out of the pedal, when you get back in it, it's holding that torque and that turbo up and ready to go as soon as you get back into the throttle.
So it's just around, 238 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque.
Correct.
That's approximately where it's at.
Yep.
And before we do a lot more talk about performance, the interior changed a bit. And of course, you could see here the 13.2-inch diagonal display, some other accent colors. And by the way, they went with a double accent color here with grabber blue and electric lime. And you can kind of see a little bit of a speck and also a Lobo logo, that's easy to say, right? In the seat.
Correct.
As well. So, but the rest of the interior stays about the same, and I think that's a good thing because it's very usable, right? I mean, you have a lot of usability for cup holders and bottle holders and overall comfort of the person.
Yeah, I mean, Lobo, again, we're maximizing performance for the Lobo, but it's still a Maverick, so we still want all that usability, convenience available.
Let me take a minute and tell you about this video's sponsor, Granger Motors, and their extended factory warranties for new Ford, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler and Dodge vehicles. Let's face it, guys, the new cars and trucks that are coming out right now are packing even more amazing features with technology and more complexity than ever before. And because of it, an extended factory warranty is worth considering the next time you buy a brand new vehicle. Did you know that you can buy an extended factory warranty from any dealership? Yep, you can buy a new car or a pickup truck from your local dealership and buy an extended factory warranty from Granger Motors and save an average of $1,300 off the list price. Granger can do this because they're #1 seller of Ford Protect warranties and one of the top sellers of Mopar vehicle protection warranties in the country. So contact Granger Motors next time you buy your new car or truck for that additional peace of mind. Just use the link in the description below. We talked about the powertrain, right? Turbocharged 2-liter.
Correct.
But now let's talk about steering, brakes, suspension, because that's where the stuff really happens, right?
Oh, absolutely. From a performance side, you're talking my language.
Yeah. So where should we start? Suspension. How about suspension?
Sure. Yeah. So suspension. Obviously, we knew we were going to have to do springs and shocks.
Okay.
So with the springs, we go to a higher spring rate to help with body roll, but also help reduce that ride height. So between the spring rate, the spring height, and the spring rate, it kind of helps us lower the truck as much as we could. Then obviously with the dampers, all new tuning for the performance feel, but also again, like we said, with all the other things like the Lobo mode and the torque vectoring, we're working with it so that it all helps drive through that corner as fast as possible, as stable as possible, and as fun and easy to drive.
So what's the overall height difference?
Yeah, so pretty much a ½ inch in the front, and just over an inch in the rear.
Okay, so it's a little bit more level stance,
exactly.
maybe?
You know, again, from looking more like a performance vehicle, take a little bit of the rake out. So yeah, when the payload, you know, you don't have the up end because it's a 1,500-pound payload. Lobo's only a 1,000-pound payload.
Okay, now let's talk about steering, because you mentioned steering before in your presentation. But let's talk about steering.
Yeah, so this is a great thing. People are asking like, hey, where did you get these ideas? Where did you get these parts? Well, again, we just talked about grabbing the best parts available to us, and one of those was a steering gear out of a Kuga.
Okay.
Now you say, what's a Kuga? Well, it's the European version of the Escape.
Okay.
Which is a CUV.
Okay.
Not something you think about performance, but again, in their system, their overall system, they need a faster ratio.
Okay.
So that faster ratio, when we plug it in with our knuckles and our suspension, it provides that faster response, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to turn the wheel as much to feel the vehicle turn quicker.
Okay, so you got that down.
Correct.
So now, so you got the steering, you got the suspension. Now let's talk about the brakes briefly.
Sure, yeah.
I think it's probably better to look at it.
Yeah, you'll be able to see the brakes on this optional wheel.
Yeah, let's take a look really quick. If you're gonna go fast, you gotta stop as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, performance driving, you know, stopping is equally important. And so what we did, we took the brakes off the European Focus ST.
Okay.
That goes from a single piston caliper to a dual piston caliper. The rotor grows a few millimeters, so it's also a slightly larger rotor. Then that's where we got into the pad discussion. So obviously the Focus ST is a Ford Performance product. It's you know, intended for some level of track usage, race track usage.
Yes.
This is, while we say track usage, we mean like autocrosses or drift events, right? It's still a closed course, it's still technically a track, but it's gonna be smaller, tighter. So we don't necessarily need the most aggressive pad. And then also, a Maverick customer, because of the value that they're looking for, they may not have 2 or 3 vehicles. This might be their only vehicle.
Yeah.
So they're driving it every day.
Right.
So those comfort pads, they're gonna be lower dust, lower noise, you know, general more driving comfort. So we gave them those comfort pads to help with that every day. But again, knowing how much the Maverick customer is willing to update, customize their vehicle, you can put performance pads on this baby.
Swap it in.
Yeah, put it right in, and now you've got that Ford Performance level of braking on your Lobo.
That's really cool. And once again, you said this is the optional wheel then?
Correct.
We saw they're both 19 inches.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about tire. Is the tire special as well, or is it kind of shared with some?
Yeah, it's definitely, I'd say it's definitely special. It's new for 2025.
Yeah.
It's shared with the Lariat, so it's not unique to Lobo, but because it's a new tire, we got to create a tire targets. And so because we knew what was going on the Lobo, we definitely, you know, put some of the target parameters more towards that enthusiast performance driving. So while we don't expect the Lariat customer to take advantage of it, the Lobo customer will definitely, driving this and other tires, this is definitely a really good tire for this truck.
Goodyear Territory HT is the brand, basically.
Yep, all season.
Yeah, and once again, 19-inch wheel.
Yes.
Also, I see a hitch here, so 2,000-pound towing rating, very similar to Tremor. So Tremor is the off-road package.
Yeah.
This is the street package.
Yep. Tremor went up, Lobo goes down.
Yes. And but utility is similar between them, 2,000 pounds.
Correct.
Right there. And the bed, of course, I mean, doesn't change, right? I mean, it's already been pretty useful before, so it's kind of remains the same, even on this Lobo special new trim of the pickup truck. Are we missing anything?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing, you know, obviously the rear differential.
Yeah, that's the big
and
part.
The torque vectoring.
Yes.
So, you know, the Bronco Sport, you know, we actually built our first Lobo prototype right around the same time you and I were talking in Nashville.
Okay.
So, right, you know, we hadn't even launched the truck and we were already starting to build this, you know, this Skunk Works prototype.
Okay.
So we took it out of the Bronco Sport, the Badlands, because that does torque vectoring in sand. So when you're off-road in sand, it's, you know, obviously it's lower mu, it's a deformable surface.
Yes.
So so for them, they did it, well, we said, hey, can we just repurpose that torque vectoring, but do it on pavement with the higher mu? And again, we thought we could, but that's why we said, hey, let's go build a truck and let's just go out and see what happens.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was showing us that we could get that torque vectoring could help the truck rotate faster, steer, you know, go through a turn tighter, faster, with more stability, better grip.
So we're talking about, and then it's a twin clutch system, right?
It's a twin clutch system.
So basically you can kind of almost overdrive the outside wheel, right?
Yeah, so the amazing thing with that twin clutch, with this twin clutch system is it can split 100% of torque left or right so everything that comes down the drive shaft, we can send it one way or the other.
Okay.
So again, when you go to that turn in, it can say, hey, I see you want to turn left, so I'm going to just overdrive everything I can on the right, if that's what it needs.
Yeah, so then you can rotate the entire vehicle.
And then the best part is, because our driveline calibrator is a mad genius, he's using, you know, steering angle, throttle position, speed, all this stuff, wheel speed, slip, all this stuff. He and I were talking because I saw this doing donuts last week, and I'm like, okay, so how are we able to drift it? If we're autocrossing it, you don't want the slip. Right. You want the torque vectoring to keep you on the turn path.
Yeah.
How do you do it? He's like, well, you know, I've got this magic and the magic dust and the calibration, but he's able to sense as you turn in, when you start slipping and start counter steering, it ignores that steering input because it recognizes you're in a drift situation. So it's like, okay, you're drifting, I'll let you drift. Whereas if you're turning in and trying to turn, he's like, okay, you need to turn, so I'll keep helping you turn.
So that's all part of the Lobo mode, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is a special new mode.
Yep.
Like you said.
We created this new mode because I don't think we want our customers torque vectoring out here on public roads.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah.
Every day. Right.
Yeah. Only when it's fun time.
Well, it's really fun because you're really combining. I mean, it's not just, you know, a slight lowering and like a cosmetic package. I mean, you put a lot behind it.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, you know, like we talked in our presentation, you know, street trucks are about, you know, appearance and performance. So yeah, we could have just made a street truck that looked great, but if we really wanted to call it a Lobo and a street truck, we had to deliver the performance. So we said, you know, hey, we don't need to make a track monster, right? You know, this is where Maverick doesn't need to live at the top of the mountain, right? We can find a happy place. And so yeah, we're really happy with the performance. Like I said, we wanted to do smoky donuts. We can do the donuts. We're still working on the smoke.
But it will drift. I mean, I wanna get it out on the track now.
Hey,
after you are,
we'll talk to Don. You know, Don's gonna set up this drive event. We're gonna go find an empty parking lot somewhere.
All right. Well, really appreciate.
All right, Andre. Absolutely.
Yeah. Appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing it, and we'll drive it pretty soon, I'm hoping.
I can't wait till you get your hands on it. You and our customers.
All right, guys. I have two more things that I think we must cover. First of all, the name. Lobo means wolf in Spanish, right? There's a F-Series truck that's sold in Mexico that also has a Lobo nameplate, but this is something different. I asked Ford, why not call this Ford ST? ST is really kind of a street performance name with some other vehicles in Ford's lineup, but really Ford's team said Lobo, they wanted this to be slightly different. Lobo kind of means kind of a family, kind of a pack mentality, and kind of doing multiple things. You know, it's a wolf that can prowl the streets, I guess, but also can carry a payload and maybe tow a small trailer. So it has multi-uses. So let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think about this Lobo name? Did you wish it was going to be named something else, like an ST or RS? I don't know, maybe another name? let me know. And then the second thing is the price. So we have the starting price, which is basically $35,000 before destination charges. The destination charge is $1,595, basically $1,600. So all in, this is basically $36,600. So that's still well under $40,000. And it seems like anything, if you want anything these days in the pickup truck form, it's probably over 40 or over 50,000. So you're getting a lot of performance and still that price tag that's below 37,000. So once again, let me know what you think. Is that price pretty steep or not? By the way, if you're getting a front wheel drive hybrid, that's now the base new 2025 Maverick, that price is $26,295 plus destination. So that's about $27,800. So that's the new base price. So all prices are kind of coming up a little bit, but still, if you compare it to everything else, it's a pretty attractive proposition, I think. Thanks for joining me, and of course, check out oldtfl.com for everything automotive in one place, and tflstuff.com for our merch, like the shirt I'm wearing in this video. Thank you.